Boom, that was the sound of the flagpole slamming into the ground as my American flag unfurled in the morning breeze just seconds before Karen from the HOA stormed across my lawn like she owned the country. I didn't know it yet, but that moment would spark a war. Not the kind you fight with weapons, but with rights, pride, and a whole lot of legal firepower. "Take that down right now," she snapped, pointing at my flag as if it personally offended her existence. HOA rules state no flags without board approval. I laughed at first, because I thought it was a joke. This wasn't some flashy political banner or loud decoration. It was the American flag, the one my father fought for, the one my grandfather saluted every sunrise until the day he couldn't stand anymore. But Karen didn't care. Karen never cares. And when I refused, she slipped a paper into my mailbox like she was delivering a death sentence, an official HOA fine. $500 for unauthorized patriotic display. $500 for flying the same flag millions of Americans fly. That's when I realized something. Karen wasn't defending neighborhood rules. She was flexing power. She wanted control. She wanted obedience. And I wasn't about to bow down. So instead of taking the flag down, I raised it higher. The next day, another fine. Then another. Soon they were piling up like snow in a blizzard. $500 became $4,000, neighbors whispered. Some shook their heads. Others saluted my yard quietly at night, like they were scared Karen would catch them supporting me. I tried talking to the board. They sided with her. I tried citing state and federal law protecting the right to fly the flag. She smirked. "This neighborhood has standards," she said. "If you can't follow them, maybe this isn't the place for you." That sentence flipped a switch inside me. My family built this home. My sweat repaired every plank and brick. And no HOA, especially not one run by a power-hungry Karen, was going to bully me off my own land. So I made a decision. I was going to fight. And I wasn't just planning to win. I was planning to make history in the process. Because this wasn't just about me anymore. The moment those fines hit, emails from neighbors started trickling in. Stories of harassment, intimidation, rule twisting, and selective enforcement. Karen had been running the HOA like her personal kingdom, and everyone had been too afraid to challenge her. But suddenly, my flagpole became something bigger. A rally point. A symbol. If she could silence me, she could silence all of us. And I wasn't letting that happen. Not now, not ever. We were done being quiet. For good. The first thing I learned when you go up against a Karen with power, she doesn't panic. She plots. The morning after my last fine notice, I walked outside to find Karen standing in the middle of my yard with a tape measure in her hand like she was surveying a battlefield. A clipboard tucked under her arm. Sunglasses on like she was Secret Service. Except instead of protecting the nation, she was trying to micromanage it. "Flagpole height exceeds HOA standards," she muttered, scribbling like some dictator of suburbia. "Violation recorded." I pulled out my phone and filmed her. That's when her voice cracked. "You cannot record me! That's a violation of privacy!" "No," I replied calmly. "You're on my property. I'm documenting harassment." Her face turned the color of expired ketchup. She marched away, heels stabbing my lawn like she wanted to kill the grass out of spite. From that moment, it escalated. I'd wake up to violation letters taped to my door like hate notes. Noise complaints when I wasn't even home. A lawn inspection warning, even though my grass looked like a golf course. She even tried to claim my porch light was too bright. It wasn't about rules, it was personal. But here's where her plan started to crack. Because I wasn't just sitting back taking it. I was documenting everything. Dates, comments, letters. Every petty attack she threw at me became evidence. And then, the neighbors started stepping forward. One older homeowner told me Karen fined him for his American flag mailbox wrap. Another woman said Karen threatened to evict her over a patriotic wreath. A veteran down the street confessed he'd taken his flag down years ago out of fear because Karen said it created division. That's when I knew this wasn't Karen versus me. It was Karen versus freedom. And if there's one thing this country doesn't tolerate, it's someone trying to stomp on patriotism like a bug. So I contacted an attorney. Not just any attorney. One who specialized in HOA abuse cases. When he heard the story, he didn't hesitate. "She violated federal law," he said. "This isn't an HOA dispute. This is a civil rights case. We filed a formal federal complaint. And when the news came that the HOA would be served legal papers, I thought Karen might finally calm down. Instead, she doubled down. That night, security cams caught something insane. Karen sneaking to my flagpole with wire cutters and a wrench. She literally tried to take it down herself. She didn't know I had video evidence. She didn't know I was ready for war. But she was about to find out. I didn't sleep that night. Not after watching Karen creep onto my property like a villain in a cheap spy movie. gripping tools like she was about to dismantle the Constitution itself. The footage was crystal clear. Karen reaching for the flagpole, tugging, twisting, muttering to herself like the HOA devil possessed her. The next morning, I walked into the HOA office with a flash drive in hand. The board members looked up from their laptops, and Karen froze mid-sip of her herbal dictator tea. "I'd like this entered into the record," I said calmly. She scoffed. "Whatever you think you have isn't admissible." I plugged the drive into the screen behind them, and boom, there she was, in full HD, vandalizing my flagpole like a patriotic exorcism gone. "Wrong," gasps. One board member covered his mouth. Another whispered, "Oh my God." Karen's face dropped so hard it could have registered on the Richter scale. "This is harassment, destruction of property, trespassing, and a violation of federal flag rights," I said. "And now the court gets to see it too." Her voice shook, just slightly. You don't have the right to—" "Oh, I do," I said. "And guess who else has it now?" I stepped back as the door opened and my lawyer strode in with a folder thick enough to knock someone out. He served her the lawsuit in person. Karen barely blinked, but her hand trembled as she grabbed the paper, and for the first time, she wasn't talking. She was drowning in silence. Word spread fast. By noon, neighbors were stopping me in the street. People who once stayed quiet suddenly found courage. About time someone stood up to her. She fined us for a kid's lemonade stand. She tried to ban Christmas flags last year. One veteran neighbor, cane in hand, pulled me aside. "I fought overseas for that flag," he said. "You're fighting here for it. Don't quit." I didn't plan to. "But Karen," she snapped. The HOA board called an emergency meeting that night. Karen demanded they expel me from the community. She ranted, pointed, even slammed her binder down like she was defending a throne. But something changed. The board didn't nod along this time. They looked tired, embarrassed, cornered. When she finished her meltdown, the room stayed silent. Then one board member finally spoke. "Karen, you're the liability here." She stormed out in fury, swearing this wasn't over. But her empire? It was crumbling, brick by control-obsessed brick. And the courtroom was waiting. Courtrooms don't usually feel dramatic until you're sitting in one with a Karen who thinks she's above the law. She marched in like she was leading an army. Binder clutched to her chest, chin tilted high. But the judge wasn't interested in her attitude. He was interested in facts, and I had plenty. My lawyer laid everything out like a precision strike. The fines, the threats, the harassment, and then the crown jewel, the video. The courtroom screens lit up with Karen creeping across my yard like a HOA raccoon, muttering, yanking, and trying to strip down the flagpole. A couple people in the gallery actually laughed under their breath. The judge raised an eyebrow so high it practically left the building. Karen's face went red, then purple, then back to its natural shade of rule-obsessed volcano. She tried to defend herself. "That flag disrupts neighborhood uniformity. He's undermining the HOA." The judge leaned forward, calm, controlled, unshakable. "Ma'am," he said, "the Freedom to Display the American Flag Act protects his right to fly that flag. You are not above federal law." Her jaw dropped. "And entering his property? Attempting to remove the flagpole? That's vandalism and trespassing." Her lawyer shrank into his seat like he wished he could dissolve. "And the excessive fines," the judge continued, flipping through paperwork, appear retaliatory. Then came the sentence. The sound every bullied homeowner dreams of hearing. HOA fines are invalidated. Damages awarded to the plaintiff. And Mrs. Karen, you are hereby removed from your position as HOA president effective immediately. Boom, just like that. Her reign ended. Karen didn't walk out. She stormed, muttering about appeal, justice, how everyone would regret this. But nobody followed her. Nobody supported her. Neighbors who once feared her power now avoided her gaze, like she'd turned invisible. Outside the courthouse, something beautiful happened. The veteran with the cane was waiting. A group of neighbors stood beside him, and when I stepped out, they clapped. Not for me, but for what we all stood up for. For the right to live free in our own homes. For the flag that has flown over every sacrifice made for this country. For the simple truth that bullies don't win when good people stand up. We walked back into the neighborhood that day together, and when I raised the flag higher than ever, the wind caught it like it had been waiting for that moment. Neighbors saluted. One woman cried. A kid held his hand over his heart. And Karen, she stayed inside. Curtains drawn. Silence replacing the voice that once terrorized everyone. The flag waved. We stood proud. Freedom won. And it wasn't just my victory, it was ours. If you enjoyed watching me stand up to Karen and the HOA, make sure to smash that like button. Drop a comment below telling me what you would have done in my shoes. And subscribe so you never miss another unbelievable true HOA story. Your support helps us bring more real-life justice stories that show bullies don't win.